Welcome to the Healthy Pantry, your daily dose of nutritional knowledge and wellness inspiration. We are delighted to have you here. In today's video, we're diving deep into the magnificent world of cortisol. Cortisol is a vital hormone produced by the adrenal glands, and it plays a crucial role in various bodily functions. Often referred to as the stress hormone, cortisol responds to stress signals in the body, helping to regulate metabolism, control blood sugar levels, reduce inflammation, and assist with memory formulation. While cortisol is essential for our survival and adaptation to stress, persistently high levels can lead to a myriad of health issues. Let's explore the 10 signs that may indicate elevated cortisol levels and how they can impact our well-being. First and foremost, let's talk about weight gain, especially in the abdomen. When cortisol levels are consistently elevated due to chronic stress or other factors, it can lead to increased fat accumulation, particularly in the abdominal area. This happens because cortisol stimulates the release of glucose into the bloodstream to provide immediate energy for the body's fight or flight response to stress. However, if this energy is not used, such as during prolonged periods of stress, the body will store it as fat, primarily in visceral fat stores around the abdomen. Visceral fat is the type of fat that surrounds organs deep within the abdominal cavity. Unlike subcutaneous fat, the fat stored just beneath the skin, visceral fat is metabolically active and has been linked to various health problems, including insulin resistance, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and metabolic syndrome. Moreover, cortisol also interacts with other hormones involved in fat metabolism, such as insulin, leptin, and ghrelin, further contributing to weight gain, especially in the abdominal region. This type of weight gain is often characterized by a rounder, protruding belly, commonly referred to as a stress belly or cortisol belly. Did you know that insomnia, or difficulty falling asleep or staying asleep, can be a significant sign of high cortisol levels? Cortisol follows a natural rhythm throughout the day, typically peaking in the morning to help wake you up and gradually decreasing as the day progresses, reaching its lowest levels in the evening to facilitate sleep. This diurnal variation in cortisol levels is part of the body's circadian rhythm, which regulates sleep-wake cycles. However, when cortisol levels are chronically elevated, particularly in the evening and nighttime, it can interfere with the body's ability to wind down and prepare for sleep. Elevated cortisol levels can make it difficult to fall asleep at bedtime. Instead of feeling relaxed and sleepy, individuals may experience heightened alertness and difficulty transitioning into a state of restfulness. Even if individuals with high cortisol levels manage to fall asleep initially, their sleep may be disrupted throughout the night. Cortisol spikes during the night can cause awakenings or lighter sleep, leading to fragmented sleep patterns. High cortisol levels can also contribute to early morning awakening, where individuals wake up earlier than desired and struggle to fall back asleep. This phenomenon can further exacerbate sleep deprivation and contribute to daytime fatigue. Cortisol can interfere with the normal progression of sleep stages, particularly rapid eye movement, REM, sleep, which is crucial for cognitive function, memory consolidation, and emotional regulation. Disrupted REM sleep may lead to cognitive impairment and emotional disturbances. What's more, anxiety and irritability are common signs associated with high cortisol levels. Cortisol is often released in response to stress as part of the body's fight or flight response. When faced with a perceived threat, cortisol, along with other stress hormones, prepares the body to respond by increasing heart rate, blood pressure, and alertness. This heightened state of arousal can contribute to feelings of anxiety and irritability, as individuals may feel constantly on edge or easily agitated. Chronic elevation of cortisol levels can disrupt the brain's ability to regulate emotions effectively. Cortisol interacts with regions of the brain involved in emotional processing, such as the amygdala and prefrontal cortex. Excessive cortisol exposure may lead to exaggerated emotional responses, making individuals more prone to feeling anxious, irritable, or overwhelmed by everyday stressors. Cortisol can also influence neurotransmitter levels in the brain, including serotonin and dopamine, which play key roles in mood regulation. High cortisol levels may disrupt the balance of these neurotransmitters, leading to mood disturbances such as anxiety and irritability. Chronic stress and high cortisol levels can also fuel negative thinking patterns and rumination, where individuals dwell excessively on their worries and stressors. This pessimistic outlook can further contribute to feelings of anxiety and irritability, perpetuating a cycle of stress and negative emotions. Additionally, high blood pressure or hypertension can be a sign of high cortisol levels due to the hormone's role in regulating cardiovascular function. Cortisol stimulates the release of epinephrine and norepinephrine, which are hormones that cause blood vessels to constrict. This vasoconstrictive effect increases peripheral resistance, making it harder for blood to flow through the vessels, thereby raising blood pressure. Cortisol promotes sodium retention in the kidneys and decreases renal blood flow. This can lead to an increase in extracellular fluid volume and blood volume, both of which contribute to elevated blood pressure. Cortisol can interfere with the production and function of nitric oxide, a molecule that helps relax blood vessels and regulate blood pressure. Reduced nitric oxide availability due to high cortisol levels can contribute to hypertension. Chronic exposure to high cortisol levels has been associated with the development of atherosclerosis, a condition characterized by the buildup of plaque in the arteries. This narrowing and stiffening of the arteries can increase blood pressure and raise the risk of cardiovascular events such as heart attacks and strokes. But wait, there is more. Fatigue and muscle weakness can be significant signs of high cortisol levels, indicating the impact of chronic stress on the body. Cortisol plays a key role in regulating energy metabolism in the body. In response to stress, cortisol helps mobilize glucose from storage sites such as the liver and muscles to provide a quick source of energy for the body's fight-or-flight response. However, chronically elevated cortisol levels can disrupt this energy regulation system, leading to fluctuations in blood sugar levels and contributing to feelings of fatigue. Prolonged exposure to high levels of cortisol can have catabolic effects on muscle tissue. Cortisol promotes the breakdown of muscle protein into amino acids, which can be used as fuel during times of stress. This increased breakdown of muscle tissue can lead to muscle weakness and fatigue, as the body may struggle to maintain muscle mass and strength. If you find this video helpful and informative, please support the Healthy Pantry channel by leaving your comment below, liking this video, and subscribing for more daily health and nutrition tips. Moreover, impaired cognitive function, including difficulties with memory, concentration, and decision-making, can be associated with high cortisol levels. The hippocampus, a region of the brain involved in memory formation and learning, is highly sensitive to the effects of cortisol. Chronic exposure to high levels of cortisol can lead to structural changes in the hippocampus, including atrophy, shrinkage, and impaired neurogenesis, the formation of new neurons. These changes can result in deficits in memory consolidation and retrieval, as well as difficulties in learning new information. Cortisol can inhibit neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to adapt and reorganize in response to experiences and learning. This can impair cognitive flexibility, which is the ability to switch between different tasks or strategies, as well as hinder the formation of new neural connections necessary for learning and memory. The prefrontal cortex, a region of the brain involved in executive functions such as decision-making, impulse control, and attention regulation, is also vulnerable to the effects of cortisol. High cortisol levels can impair prefrontal cortex function, leading to difficulties with cognitive control, attentional focus, and decision-making processes. Cortisol can influence the levels of neurotransmitters in the brain, including serotonin and dopamine, which play key roles in mood regulation, motivation, and cognitive function. Imbalances in these neurotransmitters resulting from high cortisol levels can contribute to cognitive impairments such as difficulties with attention, motivation, and emotional regulation. Chronic exposure to high cortisol levels has been associated with an increased risk of cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's disease. Elevated cortisol levels may accelerate the progression of cognitive decline by promoting the accumulation of beta-amyloid plaques and tau protein tangles in the brain, which are hallmark features of Alzheimer's disease. Now let's talk about how suppressed immune function is a significant sign associated with high cortisol levels, as cortisol has immunosuppressive effects on the body. Cortisol is a potent anti-inflammatory hormone that helps regulate the body's immune response to infections, injuries, and other sources of inflammation. In situations of acute stress or injury, cortisol levels rise to dampen inflammation and prevent excessive tissue damage. However, chronic elevation of cortisol levels, as seen in prolonged stress, can lead to a state of chronic low-grade inflammation and immune suppression. Cortisol suppresses the function of certain immune cells, particularly lymphocytes, including T cells and B cells. These cells play crucial roles in recognizing and attacking foreign pathogens such as viruses, bacteria, and cancer cells. High cortisol levels can reduce the production and activity of lymphocytes, impairing the body's ability to mount an effective immune response. Cortisol inhibits the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, signaling molecules that coordinate immune responses and promote inflammation. While this anti-inflammatory effect can be beneficial in resolving acute inflammation, chronic suppression of cytokine production by cortisol can weaken the immune system's ability to combat infections and diseases. Suppressed immune function resulting from high cortisol levels can increase susceptibility to infections, including viral, bacterial, and fungal infections. Individuals with chronic stress or conditions associated with elevated cortisol levels may experience more frequent or severe infections, as their immune systems are less able to fend off pathogens effectively. What's more, digestive issues can be common signs of high cortisol levels, as cortisol can impact various aspects of digestive function. Cortisol stimulates the secretion of stomach acid, which helps break down food for digestion. However, chronically elevated cortisol levels can lead to excessive production of stomach acid, potentially causing symptoms such as heartburn, acid reflux, and indigestion. High cortisol levels can slow down the movement of food through the digestive tract, a process known as gastrointestinal transit. This can result in delayed gastric emptying, constipation, bloating, and discomfort. Slowed digestion may also impair nutrient absorption, leading to deficiencies in essential vitamins and minerals. Cortisol can influence the composition and diversity of the gut microbiota, the trillions of microorganisms that inhabit the gastrointestinal tract and play a crucial role in digestion, metabolism, and immune function. High cortisol levels have been associated with alterations in gut microbiota composition, which may contribute to digestive issues such as dysbiosis, inflammation, and gastrointestinal disorders. Chronic stress and high cortisol levels can compromise the integrity of the intestinal barrier, allowing harmful substances such as toxins, bacteria, and undigested food particles to leak into the bloodstream. This phenomenon, known as increased intestinal permeability or leaky gut, can trigger immune responses and inflammation in the gut, leading to digestive symptoms such as abdominal pain, diarrhea, and food sensitivities. High cortisol levels can exacerbate symptoms in individuals with pre-existing digestive disorders, such as irritable bowel syndrome, IBS, inflammatory bowel disease, IBD, and gastroesophageal reflux disease, GERD. Stress is known to be a significant trigger for flare-ups and symptom worsening in these conditions, as cortisol dysregulation can amplify gut sensitivity and inflammation. Next off, mood swings, characterized by abrupt and often unpredictable changes in mood, can be associated with high cortisol levels. Cortisol can affect the balance of neurotransmitters in the brain, including serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, which play key roles in regulating mood and emotions. Imbalances in these neurotransmitters resulting from high cortisol levels can contribute to mood swings, leading to periods of irritability, agitation, anxiety, and even depression. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels can dysregulate the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal (HPA) axis, the primary neuroendocrine system involved in the body's stress response. Dysregulation of the HPA axis can lead to fluctuations in cortisol levels and impairments in the body's ability to regulate mood and stress responses effectively. Mood swings associated with high cortisol levels can create a negative feedback loop, where stress and emotional dysregulation further elevate cortisol levels, perpetuating the cycle of mood instability and stress. And lastly, let's talk about irregular menstrual cycles, characterized by changes in the length, frequency, or intensity of menstrual periods. Cortisol is intricately connected to the body's hormonal system, including the regulation of reproductive hormones such as estrogen and progesterone. Chronic stress and elevated cortisol levels can disrupt the delicate balance of these hormones, leading to irregularities in the menstrual cycle. High cortisol levels can disrupt ovulation, the process by which the ovaries release an egg each month. And ovulation, or the absence of ovulation, can result in irregular menstrual cycles, including missed periods, infrequent periods, oligomenorrhea, or unpredictable menstrual bleeding patterns. In some cases, high cortisol levels can suppress menstrual function altogether, leading to amenorrhea, the absence of menstrual periods. Chronic stress and cortisol dysregulation can signal to the body that conditions are not optimal for reproduction, leading to menstrual suppression as a protective mechanism. Irregular menstrual cycles associated with high cortisol levels can have implications for reproductive health, including difficulties conceiving, infertility, challenges with fertility treatments, and an increased risk of gynecological conditions such as polycystic ovary syndrome or endometriosis. And there you have it, folks. That's all for today's video on the signs of high cortisol levels. We've explored how this stress hormone can impact various aspects of our health, from weight gain to mood swings and irregular menstrual cycles. Remember, our bodies are incredibly complex, and high cortisol levels can affect each of us differently. If you've noticed any of these signs in yourself or someone you know, don't worry. There are steps you can take to manage stress and support your well-being. Whether it's practicing relaxation techniques, getting regular exercise, prioritizing sleep, or seeking support from healthcare professionals, there are plenty of ways to take control of your health and keep your cortisol levels in check. So, take a deep breath, be kind to yourself, and remember that you're not alone on this journey to better health. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you tomorrow in the next video. Thank you for joining us here at the Healthy Pantry. We hope you found the information valuable and inspiring. Remember, your health is a journey, and we are here to guide you every step of the way. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.